Hello and welcome to the very first video of about 8 or 10 videos that will be covering the SomaWave Therapy app. This first video, trying to keep it short and simple, starting from square one. This will be covering the manual mode of the 4 play modes. To start with manual mode, say turn the app on. As a quick reminder, check the volume underneath. Make sure the external volume is always up to maximum. A quick check on the internal volume or amplification. You could have it set at 120 or 1.20 or 1.30. I consider that to be an average to low volume. I remember particularly one day in which I came back to the manual mode and just felt like trying some of these lower volumes, and I think it was 30 hertz, and I absolutely loved the feeling of 30 hertz, and I took a nap, passed out, and it felt great. Came back another day and 30 hertz didn't particularly appeal to me. I think I tried another higher value. So again, I would encourage you to explore what each of the different frequencies would feel like, getting into some of the higher frequencies. And that's just a function of the app. It will drop to the low point again. You can bring it back up. Generalization here: lower frequencies more relaxing, higher frequencies more energizing. Again, that's a generalization, but depending upon your mood, time of day, how you're feeling, different frequencies may call to you. I want to come back to, and I load this again, go back to manual mode, turn it on. Let's go up to about 33, 34. There's 2 variables I want to talk about. And again, there's a lot of details that can quickly complicate things, but I want to keep things very simple. This manual mode, starting square one, is the simplest approach. Now adding a variable, the pulse sync to alarm. Quick note, this is an older version. I'll be uploading a new version, 7.0, and this will be titled binaural beat sync to alarm, which is maybe slightly more accurate. But either way, pulse, wave, binaural beat. This is the pulsing or the wave action that is occurring within the frequency. And 0.3 I would consider to be an average that works for a lot of people, a lot of situations. But this again, I would highly encourage your exploring. I will demonstrate. We're at 0.3 now, and I'll see if I can do my hand action here. The wave is going at about this speed. Wow, wow, wow. Something like that. This is a wave or pulsing action that is created by the 2 speakers in the table that create an interference. This interference creates a wave or a pulsing, otherwise known as binaural beats. You can control the speed of these waves or this interference, incrementing or decrementing these numbers here. and I don't want to get too technical, but I might briefly say that starting with 0, there's no interference, there's no wave, there's no pulsing. Both speakers are getting exactly 34 hertz, so there's no interference. The minute you introduce interference, say a tenth of a difference between the two speakers, then you start getting a slow wave, an interference. So again, I highly recommend you explore this. Set it at 0.1 and see how that feels. A very slow wave. Hard to kind of feel. Let's go up to 0.3 again. Something like that. Picking up to 4. 5. 6. And onward up to, say, 1.0. Wow, wow, wow. That's the speed of the wave or the interference, the pulsing action. What this means on a technical level is that there is now 1 hertz difference between speakers. Say one speaker is actually getting 33.5 hertz and the other speaker is getting 34.5 hertz. So there's a 1 hertz difference between the two speakers, creating interference between the two speakers to create these waves or pulsings or binaural beats. 1 hertz difference. Wow, 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 wow. So this is an important feature in creating a sense of motion within the frequencies. It's very, I'd say it's a big influence, big effect on the body. How fast it's pulsing, how slow it's pulsing can have different effects on different people. It, of course, goes all the way up to 2 hertz, twice as fast. So again, there's a 2 hertz difference between speakers. So in effect, averaging it out, one speaker's getting 33 hertz and the other speaker's getting 35 hertz. So there's 2 hertz difference between the two, creating this interference, which is rather fast. Wow, 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 wow. Pretty fast. I don't use that too often, but there is a time and a place for all of this. Bringing it back down. Wow, wow, wow. Here's 0.5. Wow, wow, wow. Bringing it back to what I would say I use a lot, 0.3. And 0.2. And 0.1, which is very slow wave. So very slow wave. So this, as a variable, can be introduced in various play modes to create some complexity. This is just the simplest way to introduce it. I hope that makes sense, and I hope my waving fingers make sense. We stop the action. I reload my original settings. And we can go back to manual mode again. One final variable to introduce using the manual mode, amplification. This is the internal volume. You have the external volume underneath at the corner of the iPad, always making sure that that is at its highest point, just as a reminder. But the internal volume, this is another variable that is significant. For example, if you bring it way down to 16 hertz, it might be too low. Turn it on. I'm going to turn the babbling brook all the way off. 16 hertz is so low, we're getting down to what elephants hear and what humans may not be able to hear or feel. But if I then increase the internal volume, internal amplification, then you can start to hear it or feel it. It's very low frequency, low volume, but it could be something that appeals to you. It's something worth exploring. See how it affects you, see how you feel with that. There are some schools of thought. I just ran across an article just the other day that suggested extremely low frequencies like this. I think they were specifically referring to 10 hertz. Well, we don't even go to 10 hertz. But they were suggesting low frequencies have a healing value to, I think it was bones, bone health, bone healing. I'll see if I can look that article up and pass that along. But again, these extremely low frequencies I don't use very often, but it may hold some value. A warning here I would quickly add, because this is maxed out all the way to 1.98. The minute you start to bring this up, it's going to start getting really loud and shake the whole table and make it for uncomfortable listening. So I won't do that. Be very careful with that, as you could maybe blow a speaker. So bring that back down. One final note about manual mode, and that is using these memory slots, it doesn't save a specific frequency. And that's just a function that we did in the programming because it's such a simple way to access it that if you save this and then load, it still jumps back to 27. It doesn't save a specific frequency. That's something that you can take note of yourself or keep it in files or just memory in terms of your own idea of what works for you. It's not a significant thing to save. At least that was our estimation. So there you have it. I hope that wasn't too much information. I know it can be a lot of information rather quickly. Trying to keep it really simple. Again, highly recommend that you start from here. I consider this square one, step one, manual mode. Explore the frequencies, see how they feel. Use the binaural beat or pulsing waving action here. Explore what 0.3 feels like. Explore what 0.5 feels like. Explore what 1.0 feels like. And get very familiar with that. There's some fun settings. There's a setting that I use with 0.1. It's a super slow wave that I like to use on a certain setting. Slow-mo, I think it is, or per down here. But get familiar with how this variable changes your experience with different frequencies. And then again, the volume, be aware that the level, the amplification level, is something that can change your experience with these different frequencies. So there you have it. Manual mode, square one, exploring the binaural beat, pulse wave action, internal amplification. Have fun exploring, have fun with sound frequencies, and we'll see you at the next video.